On May 26 this year, the international LIGO-Virgo-KAGRA collaboration, known as the LVK collaboration, released GWTC 5.0, the fifth and largest edition of the Gravitational Wave Transient Catalogue. It adds 161 newly confirmed gravitational wave signals. Ripples in spacetime produced by colliding black holes, bringing the total number of confirmed detections in the history of the field to 390. The signals were captured between April 2024 and the end of January 2025. During the second half of the fourth joint observing run, a period that alone accounts for roughly 3/4 of every gravitational wave ever detected. Buried inside this expanded dataset is something more interesting than a bigger number. Growing evidence that some of these black holes were not born from dying stars at all, but from earlier black holes merging with each other. Let us sort the signal from the noise. Understand what a gravitational wave detection actually is before the numbers mean anything. When two black holes spiral into each other and merge, they briefly stretch and squeeze the fabric of spacetime itself, sending a ripple outward at the speed of light. By the time that ripple reaches Earth, it stretches space by a fraction smaller than the width of a proton. LIGO, in the United States, Virgo, in Italy, and KAGRA, in Japan, detect this using laser interferometers, instruments that split a laser beam down two long tunnels set at right angles. Then measure whether the beams still line up perfectly when they recombine. A merging black hole shifts one tunnel relative to the other by an almost unimaginably small amount. And that shift is the signal. 3 independent detectors working together, rather than just one, is what lets researchers confirm a detection is real and even estimate roughly where in the sky it came from, rather than dismissing it as instrument noise. Consider what researchers actually do with 390 detections instead of a handful. A single merger tells you one story. Hundreds of them, examined together, let researchers look for patterns in mass, spin, and distance across the whole population. The way a census reveals trends a single household never could. One pattern standing out in GWTC 5.0 is a cluster of merging black holes with unusually large masses and fast spins, properties that are hard to explain if every black hole formed the ordinary way, from a single massive star collapsing at the end of its life. The more likely explanation, according to the LVK team, is hierarchical merging, black holes that already resulted from an earlier collision merging again with a new partner. Essentially a second-generation black hole. Finding convincing evidence of this in the data means the population of black holes out there is not just larger than assumed. It is also structured in ways a single detection could never have revealed on its own. It is worth explaining why scientists treat a catalog release as a bigger deal than any one dramatic merger announcement. The first gravitational wave detection, back in 2015, proved the entire field was possible and rightly made global headlines. But one event cannot tell you how black holes typically form, how common different mass ranges are, or whether hierarchical mergers are rare oddities or a routine part of the picture. A catalog of 390 detections can. Researchers use it to test rival theories of black hole formation against real statistics, refine estimates of how often these collisions happen across the universe, and flag genuinely unusual events worth follow-up study. Buried inside the pile, the University of Glasgow's mirror suspension systems and analysis techniques were central to pulling faint signals out of detector noise at this scale. None of this replaces the excitement of a single detection. It builds the population-level picture that turns isolated events into an actual science of how Black holes live and die. A real caveat belongs here. Confirmed, in this context means the signal passed the LVK collaboration statistical thresholds. For distinguishing a real astrophysical event from random detector noise. Not that every property of every merger is settled fact. Estimating a black hole's exact mass, spin, or distance from a gravitational wave signal still involves real uncertainty. And those estimates get refined, sometimes significantly, as analysis techniques improve in later catalog releases. The hierarchical merger interpretation, black holes built from earlier black holes, is the leading explanation for the unusual mass and spin patterns researchers are seeing. But it is not the only one on the table, and the astrophysics community is still actively testing it against competing formation models. None of this undermines the catalog itself. The detections are real and the methodology is rigorous, peer-reviewed science. It does mean that, hidden population revealed, describes a promising, still developing interpretation of the data. Not a fully closed case on how every black hole in the universe came to exist. Quick recap. On May 26, the LVK collaboration released GWTC 5.0. Adding 161 newly confirmed gravitational wave detections and bringing the all-time total to 390. With evidence pointing toward a population of black holes built from earlier black hole mergers. So, signal or noise? Signal. This is real, rigorously validated, multi-detector science. And a catalog this size genuinely does let researchers study black hole populations in ways a single detection never could. Noise risk shows up only if you read, hidden population revealed, as a finished discovery rather than a strong, still developing interpretation. Exact mass and spin estimates keep getting refined. And the hierarchical merger explanation is still being tested against rivals. The honest takeaway: gravitational wave astronomy just got a genuinely bigger, richer dataset to work with. Not a final answer on how black holes are built. Subscribe for the space stories that explain what the data can and cannot yet tell us. Signal from the noise. Every week.